Welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, in our seminar, insurance claims in construction projects. It's one of the interesting topics, yet vague topic in the construction industry. We will try today to tackle many issues in the insurance claims in construction. We'll go through some many sections indicating some definitions, case studies. I hope it's interesting. Engineer Magid with us today. Engineer Magid Farouk, contracts and commercial claims insurance expert with 16 plus years experience in construction industry. Managing multi-million-dollar contracts, broad portfolio totaling up to $20 billion. He's currently the Contracts and Commercial Director of Contracting and Construction Enterprise Limited in Saudi Arabia. He's graduated from the American University in Cairo. He's and a member in the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators and holds several certificates, which is the certification from the Egyptian Finance Supervisory Authority as an insurance specialist. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Engineer Mahmoud, for your kind words. Truly appreciated. It's a great honor and privilege to be with such esteemed audience and colleagues. And I wish everyone happy Eid al-Adha holiday. I know actually how challenging it is to be here today, considering that Eid vacation is approaching. So thank you for your time today. I think it will be the commencement of Sahel season. Okay. Can we start by taking a brief intro about each one of the audience? Just a quick name, title, specialization. Ones.
Mahmoud Tawfiq, Senior Contracts Engineer for Raouf Construction.
Hello everybody, my name is Khalid Muhammad and I work with the Engineer Mahmoud at Rights for Project Management. I'm a Senior Contracts Engineer.
Hi everyone, Muhammad Saeed, Senior Commercial in Roya Development.
Shahda Abdul Latif, Associate at Alpha Advisors Law Firm, lawyer at Commercial and Contract and Corporate Department.
Hello everyone, Sharif Abbas, Managing Partner at Alpha Advisors.
Hello, this is Saadany, Senior Contract Section Head in Fayek.
Good afternoon, Mohammed Al-Haggan, Senior Associate, Al-Tamimi & Company, focusing on contentious and non-contentious construction work. Thank you.
Hello, Nuran Hataiba, Contract Section Head, Project Scope.
Muhammad Karam, Senior Contracts Administrator, EHAF, and I had the pleasure to work with Engineer Magid Raouf.
Islam Mustafa Kata, Assistant Chairman, Diak Consult. Thank you.
Hi everyone. In advance for your presentation, I am Yasser Atiyah, visiting professor in the College of Law Abu Dhabi University. Now I am student in the program of Environmental Sustainability at El Sorbonne University.
Mons Ahmed Ghanem. I'm a contracts manager in Muharram Bakhoum ASPM.
Ahmed Omar, Assistant.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure having you today. It's very important to me to know more and much about insurance, especially it's one of the risk management, which is very important in the risk management process. I'm Mohammed Abdurrahim. I'm a lawyer. I'm involved in dispute resolution and arbitration, contract drafter in the oil and gas construction and banking. I'm also involved in the corporate governance and due diligence.
Thank you very much. So I will start the seminar by sharing with you a true story that happened a few years back. One night I received a phone call from one of the project managers on site telling me, Magid, help me. We have a huge fire accident on site in one of our buildings. What shall I do? What shall I do? And he was very panicking. I told him, relax, don't worry, just do the needful from your side to try to minimize the adverse implication of this fire incident, and I will coordinate this incident with the insurance company and will take all the necessary measures. So the next day, after further investigation, I discovered that the scope that caused this fire, it was a huge fire incident, was related to a scope of works that was not originally included in the contract. It was related to a variation order, major variation order instruction. And this variation order instruction of this specific scope was not coordinated with the head office and was not coordinated as well with the insurance company. So I'll ask you a question here. What can we do in this situation to get this insurance claim or to compensate the contractor for such incurred damages and losses? Can anyone answer me this question?
It's very hard to answer this question because we need to check the contract more if there is indemnity clause where that may.
It's a variation. Okay.
And it's they have signed the amendment, the authorized party has signed such amendment, and they have referred to the original contract as making this variation as part and parcel from the original contract.
Very good. So it was not part of the original contract, it's a variation instruction, and this was not coordinated with the insurance company. So the insurance company has no idea whatsoever about this specific scope. Okay, which drives me to say that there is no specific, there is no coverage whatsoever in this specific example because the insurance company didn't know about this additional scope of works, and accordingly the claim is rejected and constitute a waiver from this insurance policy because simply the insurance company didn't take any premium was not included in its service or coverage of risk, and accordingly the claim is rejected. And that's why such example emphasize the importance of today's seminar, and insurance policies are critically important for the project success. So that's why I want you to focus in today's presentation, because you will gain a lot of knowledge, and also it will be more of an interactive nature. So you'll be required to answer many questions, so stay focused. Okay? Okay, I'll drive you. Let me walk you first through my presentation outline. I'll start with the general overview about the insurance, types of insurance policies in construction projects, the common claims causes or the root causes behind the accidents, how to effectively and efficiently handle insurance claims, the best practices adopted in managing these claims, and finding the most interesting two parts, insurance provision and case studies. Insurance provision will be extract from insurance provision of construction contracts of reputable developers and contractors in the market. And the case studies will be from actual real-life case studies of accidents that happened in the Egyptian market earlier. Part one, overview of construction insurance. So the insurance significance. Of course, as you all know, construction projects are complex and unpredictable in nature, with many risks and uncertainty involved. And that's why insurance is very critical and crucial tool for managing these risks and for the project success and protecting the parties, the employer and the contractor from the losses and damages incurred during the construction project life cycle. They provide confidence, coverage, safety, security, health, etc., risk sharing. So basically, construction risk or risks in general, we have four methodologies to deal with. The norm in common, either use avoidance, mitigation, acceptance, or you transfer the risk. So when having insurance policy in place, this is an easy question for engineers. When having insurance policy, which methodology are you adopting here? Transfer. You transfer the risk from the contractor side or whoever, the employer or whoever, to the insurance company. Okay, simple and easy. Insurance contract, similar like any other contract, in order to be legally binding and enforceable, has to have the four pillars of contract, which is offer and acceptance, legal purpose, capacity, and consideration. This is a very important slide, which is the insurance management roadmap or the insurance cycle from the very beginning until claiming the insurance company. So first, we need to identify the project type. Why? Because we can have commercial projects, we can have infrastructure projects, residential, whatever types of projects. And it's very important that to identify the project type in order to know the risks involved in this project, because each type of project has its own risks. Okay, and so you have to have a risk management plan in place in order to identify the insurance needs. Otherwise, how you will insure against risks if you're not aware of the risks involved in the first place? So it doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll give you a quick example. If you have infrastructure road work project, most of the risks here are related to basically underground utilities. When you excavate, you can damage cable, you can damage pipe, etc., which is completely different than a high-rise building, for example. So high-rise building, the risks there are different. So you can have soil settlement, collapse, fire. So the risks are different, and accordingly, the insurance need will be different. So this is why it's critically important to have a risk management plan in place and insure against these risks accordingly. Choose A+ insurance companies. This is very important because many just focus on pricing, which is completely illogical and unreasonable when it comes to claims. We can, if you're not insuring with an insurance company, you can easily get the claim rejected, and they can easily find hundreds of reasons to reject the claim. For example, if there's a fire accident, they will tell you, well, the fire, this sprinkler wasn't here, this is fire extinguisher was not in place. So you'll find hundreds of reasons to reject your claim, and we don't want this because the core service of the insurance companies is to provide the claim compensation whenever there is any claim in place. So make sure to choose A+ insurance companies. Then the normal tender process. You have a construction contract, you receive the employer requirements of the insurance provision, you submit to the insurance company these employer requirements for pricing and providing quotation. However, this is very important that you need to have your income as a contractor or whatever as an employer. I will talk right now from a contractor's perspective. So if you have, as an employer, we receive the insurance requirements. So I need to have input from the my insurance department, from the experience, from the lessons learned, from the risk register. We have a risk register. We have a root cause of claims accidents in previous projects. So all this has to be taken into consideration in order to include these risks and coverage in your requirements for the insurance company, because otherwise the employer is not aware or is not he don't care what risks you have as a contractor, and when the risks take place in the during the construction, the contractor will be carrying the burden of liability and responsibility of this risk and will incur these damages. So make sure you provide your experience from the insurance department. That's why it's critically important to have insurance department and not to be with the finance team, or with all respect to all departments, but I've seen many companies who don't have insurance department. We just allow the HR or the finance or the legal. I've seen many cases, and you'll be surprised to know the companies and these names of these companies. So make sure that you have an insurance department. Then the normal tender process, you put your provisions, you submit to the insurance company, you get quotation, you negotiate limits, you resubmit again, you request meeting, you negotiate again the limits, and then you agree on pricing, and then you agree on the payment process. Then you pay the insurance company and have an active insurance policy in place. Then you need to renew and extend the insurance policy whenever the policy expires. And finally, you can claim the insurance company if you have any claim. Make sure that you always renew and extend the insurance policy, because I've been exposed to many cases in this regard where the insurance policy is expired and the insurance company forgot to renew it, and the contractor forgot as well to communicate the same and forgot to renew or extend the policy. And I've witnessed this by myself. There was a case where we had an accident on site, and this scenario happened. But what saved us exactly in this specific scenario, I sent an email earlier because I was afraid that we missed the deadline or the renewal duration. So I sent to all insurance companies stating that it is the liability of the insurance company to notify or to extend the insurance policy after obtaining the contractor's consent. So I transferred the burden or the liability of extension on the insurance company. However, I'm not encouraging this practice. We have to have proper monitoring and controlling of all insurance policies duration. Make sure, because basically the highest risk of the insurance is at the end of the project, not at the beginning. So insurance companies tend to, I don't want to say escape from the risk, but they may turn a blind eye on this. So because if you have a building almost before the taking over and there's a fire accident, this is the highest risk of all during the project life cycle. So that's why whenever you request extension, you always receive too many requirements from the insurance company. Why you want to extend? Please send me the program of works. صح Mr. Noor? Please send me the program of works. Please, I don't know what variations. What are the variation instructions? You find many requirements, and to be honest, we want these requirements in order to know the risk, because the risk is high, and you want to know the reasons of why the project is extended. And you also submit your claims, as a substantiation why the project was delayed. Okay, so make sure to renew and extend the insurance policy whenever the policy expires. So classification of insurance policies, generally it's divided into non-life and life. Non-life is divided into marine and non-marine. I will only focus here on insurance policy related to construction, which is contractors or risk, contractors, plant and machinery, personal accidents, employers' liability, erection or risk, inherent defect insurance, professional indemnity, and property or risk. Due to time limitation, of course, we will not have the time to tackle all the insurance policies, but I will do my best through case studies and through later on during the presentation to tackle the most important ones and the critical provisions. Types of insurance policy in construction, the most important ones, of course, contractors or risk, which protects the employer and the contractor against the damages and incurred losses during the project. General or third-party liability, which provides coverage for bodily injury or property damage to third parties. Worker compensation or the personal accidents, which covers injuries, death, or illness of the workers during the project life cycle. The professional indemnity, which covers claims related to errors in design and negligence of the designer and consultants. Finally, employers' liability, which protects the employees from the legal proceedings and compensation, legal compensation threats if anyone sued the employer due to errors or negligence. The types of damage that can take place, it can be physical damage to property. The voice is في حاجة. Physical damage. It can also death, bodily injury, and liability. Liability, third-party liability means the three of them can happen to third parties, other entities not related to the project. نفتح أسئلة ولا خلينا في الآخر؟ Do you want to ask us? The standing ability is a different issue. Let's tackle it later during the presentation, okay? So this is a contractor or risk schedule. Basically, it's divided into sections: material damage and third-party liability, okay? So I'll start with the material damage. As you can see, this is a simple display of the policy. Of course, each company has its own display, but this is an easy way to display it. So we have contract work, which we call it the contract price or the total sum insured. It's worth 1,380 million, and each trade is corresponding to the amount. And then we have contractors, plant and machinery, which is estimated to 20 million. And the natural hazard, which is approximately 200 million. This is the limit. Okay. And then we have the deductible, which is very important that you understand that the meaning of deductible is basically the risk sharing or the minimum amount the contractor pays in any claim compensation. So in this specific case, we have 5% of loss with minimum EGP 100,000 for each and every natural hazard loss testing and commissioning maintenance period. Okay, so I'll give you an example in this case. If you have an earthquake, for example, and there's a building, major parts of the building, not major, let's say small parts, because I will say here the compensation is 50,000. Is the contractor eligible to claim any amount? No, right? Why? Because we have a minimum EGP of 100,000. What if it's 5 million? How much the contractor will receive as compensation? Can anyone answer? Exactly. So it's minus 5%, as simple as that. So 5 million, 5% of 250, so for 4,750,000. This is the compensation that will be received by the contractor. Right. I'll ask you another question. What happens to the policy cost or the premium? We call it the premium. If the deductible instead of 5% is 20%, what happens to the cost of the insurance or the premium? Is it higher or lower? Lower, exactly. Why? Because it is the contractor is taking more risk, and the insurance company, its risk is less. So it's reasonable that the price of the premium is lower. Okay. Everything is clear. This is section 2, third-party liability. As you can see, it's divided in bodily injury per any one person or total and property damage. So it's 500,000 per any one person bodily injury and 5 million per any one occurrence bodily injury or property damage, and EGP 20 million in the aggregate. So I'll give you another example here. If during construction a slab collapsed and 10 people died, how much each will receive? لا مش 5 million. EGP 500,000 per any one person. Okay, it's written, and the maximum is 5 million. Okay, so if you have 10 people died, so 500,000 times 10 is 5 million. What if it's 20? What if it's 20 persons who died? Again, it's 5 million, but in this case, will be distributed on that over in the 20, so it will be each 250,000. Okay, here.
But there is deductible also.
So of course, there's a deductible. Each and every loss property. Yeah, but this is only for property damage, not for. Okay. Yeah, it's a personal accident. Let us assume it is the example is 10 persons. They're having a meeting next to the building, so they are not related to the contractor's personnel. So that this specific example to be correct. Okay. Thank you for the note, Mr. Moore. Okay. So we have many questions here. You want to لا أنا قصدي questions and طيب I will ask you a question here. What happens when the contractor receives a TOC? Contractually بقى, contracts people. We have 4 contractual mechanism takes place when any contractor receives a TOC. What happens? Very good. The care of the works. This is the most important thing. The care of the works is transferred from the contractor to the employer. What else? Contractually دلوقتي بره insurance, away from the insurance. First portion of the retention, you start the defects liability, and firstly, the type of insurance. It's very important. The type of insurance is transferred from the contractor's risk to extended maintenance. Okay?
Yeah. Why we name it maintenance period, not defects?
So the maintenance period, it's commonly used. This term is commonly used in insurance, which also means the defects liability, the same period, which is the defects liability period, or basically it covers for the accidents. The accident in relation to the contractor's original scope of works, whether it's snag list, whether it's defects, whether it's replacing damaged materials. So it has to be related to the original scope of works. What happens, another question, what happens in case a fire incident took place due to misuse of the employer's personnel or tenants? What happens in this case? During the maintenance period or the defects liability period? Is this fire accident covered? It's misuse of employer's personnel.
Covers the my own fault.
Okay.
Or not.
Who else?
It is not.
Who else? Other.
Where do you go?
Okay. Who else?
What is the duration?
Yeah. Go ahead. Exactly. It has nothing to do with contractors or risk because it's due to the employer. We're not insuring, as I said earlier, it has to be related to the contractor's personnel or contractual scope of works, whether it's defects, whether it's neglect. So misuse or the employer's misuse of or tenants or whatever, this is covered under a different policy that should be activated, which should be insured by the employer side and not the contractor. And accordingly, this accident will not be covered under contractors or risk. Okay. Go ahead.
So the insurance policy covers the same liabilities of the contractor during the construction till the taking over certificate, and then changes during the defect liability period to the damage caused by the
contractor's personnel in rectifying or remedying the defects or anything related to the contractor's original scope of work. Has nothing to do with the employers or any new structure or any new scope.
So this is important because the coverage now changes from the contractor risk to just the damage due to the personnel of the contractor during the defect liability period.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Here, the common claims causes or the root causes behind claims accidents. This is actually an interesting study. It was conducted by Allianz Global, as far as I recall, 2014 to 2018. I can provide you with the link if you need it. So by value of claims, the root causes are the fire explosions in terms of value. Fire explosion 27%, defective products 17%, faulty workmanship and maintenance 15%, storm 10%, water damage 4%, and others 27% by value of claims. And by number of claims, as you can see, defective products is the leading cause, and then as you can see, the remaining. This is by value and this is by number. Engineering claims. Liability claims. This is by value of claims as well. Defective products are 51%. And by number of claims, also defective products 25% and highest percentage of all. It's an interesting study. From 2014 or 16 to 2018. Four, how to efficiently and effectively handle insurance construction claims. Focus on this in this slide, please, because it's very important. So basically, when you have an accident, first thing you do is you need to notify the insurance company in writing within 24 to 48 hours. Especially fire accident, because any later duration of notification may constitute a waiver for the insurance company to reject the claim in the first place. So make sure you have the notification in place.
Please take care because we have insurance companies here.
You need to file a detailed police report of the incident, not only a police report, but you need to also have security report and fire safety report, and make sure that the three reports read the same content, because there are many shocking and surprising facts you find in these three reports. You can find, for example, the police report filing the claim in a date, and the safety report in a different date, and the security report in a third date. So I'm not joking, I'm serious. So make sure the three, even the root cause behind the claim, you find it in the three are different. And of course, you'll find the famous root cause of any accident in the security report is failure in the electrical circuit, mass converter, as we all know. So this is the common, and the root cause might be that the security guys want to drink coffee or tea, so he took a circuit from a panel board and it caught fire and then into the whole building. And this is the actual case, by the way. I'm not giving just examples. This is the actual case that happened. Okay, caught fire because of this. So make sure that the three reports are reflecting the same content, because otherwise it may endanger the whole process of the claim and may be construed as in accordance with requirements of good faith, and the insurance company can doubt the whole claim and reject it, constitute a basis of rejection. Okay, so it's critical to that extent. Even the timing of the incident, by the way. Then you need to obtain the official records of public prosecution, NIABA, and investigation and its final decision. This is also important, especially in fire accidents. Then you need to have the damage scope contract. It's included in which part of the contract, which part in the specifications, the bill of quantities. You need to have all contractual documents ready and submitted to the insurance company, and it's much better even to have post quantification to be ready immediately in order to assess the whole value of the claim. And watch out, you don't include only the because includes what includes profit, and you don't include profits when claiming. You only claim for your direct cost, and in many instances you claim for the indirect cost as well. That has to be related to the accident and without including any profit margins. Okay. And even much better to have different quotation of these damaged materials from the department, and each damaged item you need to have maybe 2 offers from suppliers and subcontractors, so that you have a valid record for substantiating the cost of each damaged item. Then you need to have, we mentioned this. This is the variety of the potential of the claim. Then you negotiate a reasonable and fair settlement with the insurance company in order to get the compensation. If you fail to reach this settlement, you need to commence litigation or arbitration in accordance with the dispute mechanism provision included in the contract, in the insurance contract. Is it clear? Any questions here? Because it's a very important slide. Any questions? Let's have the questions. The room for question will be at the end. I just need to tackle this specific slide. We'll have the room for question at the end of the presentation. Okay, the best practices for managing insurance claims. You need to have a risk management plan in place, as I mentioned earlier, and identify the strategies to deal with such risk and have the coverage included in the insurance policy. Maintain accurate project records and documentation, including VOs, claims, designs, and all should be notified to the insurance company. Active daily communication between the project team and the insurance department, and make sure you have a RAM in place, responsibility assignment matrix, so that everyone is aware of the responsibilities and liabilities towards insurance. And finally, conduct seminars and awareness sessions for the project team in order for them to be aware and of the minimum knowledge required insurance claim and insurance debits. Okay. Now the most interesting part of the presentation.
ايه ده ما عملتش حاجه والله.
So this part will be an extract of insurance provision from construction contracts of a very well reputable employers and contractors, and you will be shocked to know the provisions and how they are flowed, and includes unreasonable or exaggerated requirements, and you will be required to answer this provision. These are the questions in each provision. Okay. The project's value usually ranges between 200 and 300 million. So you bear in mind this while reading the provision and answering why the limits are exaggerated or unreasonable or it's flawed provision. Okay. It's time for you which coverage is unreasonable for a 200 million. Yeah, take a guess كده. I'll make it more easy. Anyone can answer? It doesn't have a limit. It's just mentioning the clause. Bear in mind it's only 200 million project, EGP. Okay, I will make it a little bit easy. The project is in a remote area. In a deserted area. Exactly, perfect. Bravo. So third-party liability is 25% here, so it's completely unlogical. 25% is 50 million in a deserted project with no surrounding buildings, no existing properties owned by any other third party, and of course, even if there was any third-party persons moving around the site, it's completely unreasonable to have a 50 million coverage. يعني it's very unreasonable. And these unreasonable limits cause what to the pricing of the policy? Increasing. So it's unnecessary cost. It's as if you're insuring against risks that will not happen in the first place. So it's completely unreasonable. Okay. Okay, provision 2. Yes. Take a guess. Any suggestions? Okay, I'll make it a little bit easy. It's many unreasonable conditions. So first of all, removal of debris is limited to 100 millions. You know what's removal of debris? Debris removal? It's so having a debris removal 100 millions in a project that is worth 200 million. What do you think? Is it reasonable? Of course, it's not reasonable, man. Firefighting facility and fire safety per storage unit is 50 million. Wow. We hardly find fire extinguishers or sprinklers in any construction site. Having 50 million per storage unit only firefighting facility is also unreasonable, considering which is almost 25% of the project value. It's a bit unreasonable. Inland transit. Everyone is aware what's inland transit? It's basically ensuring against the risk of transportation from whatever place to the construction site if there is any accident happen to the material while transferring it. So having also 50 million worth of a project that is 200 million is also usually it's 5%, 10%. صح يا سمون؟ يعني 50. Can I have a microphone, please?
All these clauses have an impact on the pricing of the project. So since you have around 200 million, so you cannot imagine that this project will transferred on 4 shipments during the policy period, as long as you have to consider if there is any material, construction material, this will not worth such a huge amount.
Exactly, or 15. It's very exaggerated requirement. Thank you. Also, the firefighting expense limited to 100 million. Firefighting, when you have a fire accident, the measures taken by the contractor to fight this fire or reduce the impact of this fire is 100 million. Wow. يعني extremely unreasonable. What do you think? Is it reasonable limit? Of course not. So all this directly impact the premium or the cost of the insurance policy on the part of the contractor and having risks that will not happen in the first place. Provision 3 or غششتكم. So loss minimization is sublimited to EGP 75 million. Loss minimization is a clause that the measures taken by the contractor to reduce the impact and adverse implication of the incident or the fire or whatever. So having it 75 million is also extremely exaggerated figure. Provision 4, as you can see, يعني it's very obvious هنا بقى يعني إيه I need to hear some voices يا جماعة. Take a guess. What's unreasonable in all these limits? Exactly. Bravo. If site storage 100 million يا جماعة 100 million. If the project is for 100 million, 500 million, 100% is 100 million is extremely exaggerated. يعني you find normally this limit maybe in an 1 billion contract or 1.5 billion contract, not 200 million contract. It's unreasonable. Hospital, okay, hospital, exactly. Very good. Very true. So maybe we came late. So we are tackling here the project values around 200 million, 300 million maximum. So having 100 million outside storage in a project that is built 100 million is completely illogical or unnecessary coverage for risk that will not happen in the first place. Okay. Provision 5, sorry for those who are joining Zoom, but it was very important to mention this. It's in Arabic, but I will translate it and will answer it directly. The employer stipulated that in this specific case, the remuneration of any claims instance shall be processed without court order or jurisdiction. And many incidents cannot be settled except under jurisdiction, like liability claims and abuse of trust or employer's negligence. So many claims needs a court order, the public prosecution record or decision, or so has to be settled legally. So including this provision here, it contradicts with the laws of Egypt, and I believe any laws in any country, because the laws of the country always prevails, and you'll always find provisions that needs to be claims that needs to be settled under jurisdictions. Okay. Provision 6. Next an easy one. شايفين? So can you read it for them? Okay, maximum amount of deductibles for insurance of the insurance risks is 20,000. It's mentioned like this in the provision. What's wrong in this provision? I can't hear you. No one can hear. Can you? I need to just a second. Can you repeat, please?
I think it's the same idea. The amount of compensation here is 20,000 Egyptian pound. That is more or less according to the coverage of insurance, according to the risks, all risk for the insurance of the employer.
Okay. This specific clause, it puts maximum amount of the insurer's risk. When there is any accidents, it's not calculated like this. It's usually the deductible is a percentage, as I displayed earlier. It's a percentage of the accident or loss itself. So you cannot compare earthquake, for example. This risk will incur more than 200 million or 300 million in a 1 billion project, for example. So having 20,000 here, it's not reasonable. It's usually calculated as a percentage. And it might also be included as a cap. Yani in this specific example, we use earlier from the contractor always policy, it was capped, natural hazard was capped to 200 million. So having 20,000 is not logical to be fixed on all accidents. Yani fire is different than earthquake, it's different than underground cable damage. So it was just illogical to be included here, and the employer just wanted in this scenario to relieve himself from any risk more than 20,000, and this is not feasible for implementation. Okay. Provision 7. This is the most interesting of all بقى يعني what's wrong in this provision? It's a remeasured build contract يا جماعة. Can you imagine how shocking it is to find this provision? And you'll be surprised, by the way, to know each contract and the parties of this contract. You'll be shocked. You need to hear voices. What's wrong in this provision? Excuse me? Exactly. There is no design scope in the first place. It's a remeasured build contract. So basically, the employer is requesting from the contractor a professional indemnity to ensure for the design of the works of his designer and or consultant to providing the design. Not only that, also with the sum equivalent to the full contract price, not even for the limit of the design, the cost of design. So this is a very severe case, by the way, and this is even against the laws, because the employer is requesting the contractor liability that he has not even designed, he has not tackled any design issue or has no relation whatsoever with the design. And he's taking the risk. He wants the contractor to take the risk on behalf of his consultant. So this was a very surprising case. You want to add anything?
Normally, the amount of the professional indemnity insurance is equal to the design or supervision contract amount. فاحنا if the project is 200 million, so if the engineering is 2.5, so it's a 5 million contract. So the limitation of the professional indemnity insurance is just 5 million, not a full 100 million project. This is a real case that's very obvious. Secondly, some of the firms or companies issue 100 billion professional indemnity and then assign the amount of the contract amount for the design or supervision. So you cannot insure the design or supervision with the contract amount of the construction. Clear?
This I want to meet this genius who wrote this provision. Of course.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, you can make a good case for it because in this case, the employer will pay you or the client will pay you to insure him. So yeah, maybe he's done the design, but he doesn't want to deal with the insurance company. So he passes the risk or the responsibility to deal with the insurance to the contractor.
But the question here, is it contractually viable and not only contractually viable? Is it legally viable for the contractor to insure for a scope that he has not even designed or insured in the first place? I think you always need to answer this question.
If I could just, before passing the mic, I would say as a business sense, you're dealing with the insurance as an insuring company. So as far as he's concerned, he's ensuring a design responsibility.
Okay, what if there is a collapse happened? Let us go to the extreme. There's a collapse, the building collapsed due to fatal design error, and we will have a case like this later on. We have a fatal design error that led to collapse of the building, and the contractor is the one who provided professional indemnity. What happened in this case? Given if what you're saying is correct, and the contractor, whose liability is that?
So again, the liability remains one thing, the payout will be a separate item. So the insurance is doing that payout, correct? Yes, so if there's a collapse and there's an expense, the insurance is paying for that. But if the mistake is coming from the designer, dealing with the liability will then lead to another agreement between the client and his consultant and the contractor. That makes sense.
The problem is that you are entering into a contract with a liability on a third party. Like the prosecution will tell who will be liable. So you will say another third party. So how can you defend this against the insurance?
But in most cases, when you make a policy, you can also include some factors and issues to be the client and the consultants as well.
The liability contractually is under one of the parties.
The policy holding, yes.
Yes, there is no way that you put liability on a third party. It's your liability against a third party or the ones employees or under your supervision. This is why I think it will not work.
Mr. Noor, can you advise us on this regard? Can you? Thank you, Mr. Nino. My former boss, by the way.
Usually, if we have such a case, so a collapse, we have to focus on the nearest cause of this collapse. Is it from if we find it due to the design, so there is a clear exclusion for designer risk. Usually, the insurance company will ask the contractor when he approaches the company to get a professional indemnity. We have to be sure that he is responsible for the design, and this mix is not available. Is not a common practice. So you're going to find the contractors
shifting the liability on the saying I'm not the designer, and you will get into confusion or mix of liability that will end us will not lead to any.
Usually, the consultant focus is design or supervision or mix of them, design and supervision, but not related to the construction. Only maybe construction supervision during the progress of the project. But in this case, the consultant should carry his own professional indemnity policy, either for a standalone project or for annual cover to protect him against any losses might occur. And in case of the company will indemnify the contractor, he doesn't know, or maybe they failed to put exclusion for designer risk. They're going to indemnify the contractor and the recourse against the architecture or the designer of this accident.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. So it may work.
Yeah, it might work in case of the policy does not exclude the designer risk, but this will give them the right to recourse against the contract.
The designer, yes, exactly.
Some, as you know, there's a lot of manuscript wording, so the client will have specific requirements, and the company should align and adjust the wording according to the client requirements. But in any case, as long as the company will pay, so they will have the right to recourse against them.
Very good. Thank you for this addition.
It's unlikely to find it. I think it will reply to the first requirement of the relationship. When you highlighted before, this is quite similar to this situation. The designer risk is excluded, but what will happen if there is something erected or installed in proper way, and there is another thing has a designer faulty, they affect the good one. In this case, there is a specific exclusion for designer risk called the leg 1.
Yes, exactly. This is too advanced for this leg 1 or leg 2, leg 3. This is a different story. Yeah. معلش, we need to run. You have time at the end. Okay. So I need to run because we're approaching the end. Provision 8. So this provision also is a bit vague in its wording. So such insurance shall be effected in a manner that the employer is covered during the period of the execution of the work and during the defects, liability period and guarantees. So this specific wording we asked during the technical stage because the wording the employer needs to be covered during the defects liability. So we're not sure if it means during only the facts. To ensure during the facts liability period for the works or for the snag list related to the contractor, or in everything, as I mentioned earlier, during an area of slight. So the employer response was he wants to be fully insured during the defects liability period, which falls under a different policy, which is property or risk, and this is not the contractor's responsibility or liability to insure during the defects liability period. So it's not the contractor's obligation for this specific purpose, and accordingly, this we requested to amend this provision because it's unreasonable. Now, the most interesting part in the presentation, these are case studies of actual claims and accidents that took place earlier in the project, in many projects, with some additions in order to make the cases more challenging. Some spice. So case study number 1. Head office of construction company located in the 4th floor, which is fully furnished inside an administrative building. A fire incident inside the IT room because a server fired due to failure in its electrical circuits. And the fire spread to another 5 rooms while impacting the structural safety of the neighbor company underneath in the 3rd floor. And during the fire process, some of the contents were stolen. What do you think of this accident? So it's covered under which policy? I want to hear what now. It's an interactive section. Zoom also attendees are most welcome to join us through messages if they have any suggestions. Who else? Property or risk here, huh? I want answer to my questions. I want answer. I want policy. Name for me a policy. Huh? But it's a tough, it's maybe a tough case study. Okay, right, Mr. Nina, it's a property or risk to cover any fire incident or to cover all the property. And there's also important additional covers like bodily clause, which covers the theft and the fire expenses and also loss of rent. This is a very important coverage and third-party liability. So third-party liability will cover the underneath the neighbor, the input of the underneath neighbor on the structural safety and all adverse implications that and intel damages that took place. And the fire is only also covered under the property or risk. But a very critical number that يعني تقدم في الجمهورية ضروري تنظر excuse me. ضروري تنظر بأكثر من anyone answer? Huh? Server failure. So we need to know in case what exactly electronic equipment policy, because if you will not have electronic equipment policy, the whole claim will be what? Maybe void, exactly, to be rejected. So if this is the most important thing to have electronic equipment policy in place. So the first thing in the morning, you need to go to your companies and make sure you have electronic equipment policy in place, because otherwise, if there is any fire incident as a consequence of this failure in any equipment, it will lead to disastrous adverse implication and accordingly will not be insured. Okay, so make sure you have the policy in place in order to get the insurance claim compensation. For additional coverage in the risk, of course, we don't have time to go through that. History number 2. The construction project consisting of group of buildings while completing the execution process with heavy equipment. Several incidents took place. One building suffered several subsidence, which led to collapsing major parts of the building. A large stone fell on a man walking next to site and he's dead. Okay. My examples are a bit exaggerated and aggressive. So, which policies are covering these actions? So, subsidence, we have collapse, we have a dead man that's in nearby site. Exactly, contractors or risk insurance policy will cover, excuse me? Exactly. So contractor will risk to cover all the projects, the damage, and cover the third liability of the dead person. And these are different covered the important ones. So it's have to make sure, by the way, many insurance policies does not include soil substance because it's a high risk on the insurance companies, and make sure you have this sector that if you don't have it in place, request an endorsement from the insurance company in order to have this soil substance.
Substance is settlement, huh?
Yes, it's called subsidence.
These are the normal additional covers. Of course, we need a different separate one, so we don't have time, unfortunately. The case study number 3. This one is one while in the construction project, the worker fell from the first floor and suffered severe physical injuries. For a while, it was that So it is covered under which policy? Exactly, simple, huh? So it's covered under workers' compensation, or we call it in many instances personal accidents policy. So it covers the bodily injury, covers the medical expenses, and even if you died after, it could provide compensation for death. And this is a table, interesting table, يعني for the permanent partial disability schedule for compensation of there's a complete loss of account finger. By the way, I didn't know the name of my finger except after the so this goes on index, middle, ring, and finger. So you're telling me if your finger will get sort of depression, on the right hand, it's much more than the left hand. Yes. What if I'm left-handed? Exactly, then the percentage will be swipe. Okay? Make sense? Sorry. The other percentage will swap for left-handed person as I said. Loss of leg, partial complete loss of movement. So these are all percentage for, I'm sorry for this bad schedule, but this is how it is. Study number 4, the contractor signed a remeasured build construction contract and received the design. Excuse me? The contractor signed, you should be beneficial, fine. So the contractor signed a remeasured build construction contract and received the design from the employer's designer. During construction, while executing the concreting works, the building collapsed. After the insurance company was notified of the accident, it became evident that this accident was as a consequence of a major and fatal design error from the employer's designer, and 10 persons died, unfortunately. So it's covered under which policy? It's easy يا جماعة. Exactly. طب ده كان ده ده كان ده it's contractor. هو contractor, let's assume it's contractor's person. Exactly. Excellent. That's exactly what I wrote here. There's a legal proceedings that will not be covered under PI, and it's a different related to jurisdictions. However, the traditional indemnity will cover the negligence, error, and omissions, financial losses, and all these areas of negligence, such as business interruption and significant legal cost, but not the liability. Okay? Study number 5, a photocopier the construction site used in the site mobilization area owned by the contractor, okay, and it was moved from the mobilization sites to the head office of the construction site, the construction company. During the transportation process, a car accident took place which damaged the photocopier, and both cars are total loss. Okay. Will the contractor be compensated for the photocopier cost, and the 2 cars total loss will be compensated under which policy? Excuse me? The contractor always, okay, to compensate which the cars or the photocopier or what exactly? Who else? يا جماعة. Contractor always will cover everything. Read your voice, I'm read your voice, please. Read. خلي الناس تسمع عشان خاطر الزوم.
I think the third party will cover the. I think the
لا مفيش.
I think the third party will cover the car incident, but the contractor or risk will cover the photocopy.
Again,
the car accident will be covered by the third party.
Third party, okay.
And the photocopier incident will be covered by the contractor or the risk.
It's a tricky question. It was a tricky case study, so unfortunately not. Contractor risk will only cover the photocopier under inland transit because you are moving the photocopier, whether it's from the temporary work or permanent works, it's covered under, the photocopy will be covered under the contractor's or risk inland transit clause. However, the contractor's score and the third party, the third party score will be covered, has nothing to do with the contractor risk or not. These are cars moving, has different insurance policy, which is the motor insurance, and the third party score will be covered under the third party liability included in the motor liability insurance. Okay. Understand? Has nothing to do with the contractor or risk that occurs. Only the photocopy. Okay. I went out inside a construction project. Project manager discovered that the store was stolen. After investigation, it was found that the thief was the storekeeper. Okay, how is this incident covered and under what type of insurance policy? By the way, contractual risk includes theft clause. So the theft clause included in the contractual risk only covers theft incidents under armed robbery. So this is a very tricky issue. Only under armed robbery has to have guns, like, so if it's the contractor's own personnel, the storekeepers, it's covered under a different policy which is called fidelity guarantee, which is and make sure that the storekeepers are having social insurance and full-time employees in the company, because if they're not full-time employees, it's constituted by the insurance company to pay the compensation, and it can reach to millions. So when it came to my knowledge, when I read this policy, I discovered in one of the previous companies I used to work there, the storekeepers were not having social insurance. They were all part-time. So I had to include all of them after sending emails to the HR and having fights. You have to ensure, you have to put them full-time workers, because they usually tend to save cost for the storekeepers not to be full-time and to avoid the insurance and, full-time gain some privileges. So this was completely unreasonable and intention. Storekeepers might end up stealing the storage without receiving any claims from insurance company. Okay, so only the contractor rates, as I said, cover the theft incidents under armed robbers. Okay. Study number 7. While the loader is working in a construction project, the loader hit a car owned by the employer. The accident is total loss. Is the incident covered? If yes, under what type of insurance policy? Excuse me? علي سكر مش سامع. Raise your voice, please.
It covers the contractor and the owner and the employer. So is that
Exactly. Under each clause, cross liability and third party liability. So it's very important here to have a cross liability clause in the naming of the insurance policy, because each party will act as a third party to the other. So that's why insurance policy name to the benefit of the contractor, the employer, the consultant, etc., supervision consultant, or whoever, whichever party that is available on site and dealing with the parties. So each should act as a third party to the other, and accordingly will be insured under the cross liability and third party liability clause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before concluding, I'm sorry, I just without a concluding paragraph. I would like to thank CIR Egypt, branch team, and Corsica team for their support and preparation of the seminar and their remarkable contribution to conduct such successful events and in all its exerting efforts and enhance the knowledge and skills of those interested in the continuous development and learning. I would also like to give them a clap, please. Thanks for leading them. I believe in the importance of this seminar. But of course, with Shireen, Engineer Yashwa, Ms. Sarah, Mr. Ali, Mr. Ahmed, and everyone. I don't want to miss any names, of course. Engineer Mahmoud, my colleague, for his insightful moderation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I'll ask a question before receiving the Zoom questions. What if the employer didn't request the provision in the policy and the incident occurs?
In this case, we have to come back to the law, the applied law, which is the law of the country or the contractor law or whatever, because it's not even written in the contract. So we have to go back to the applied law, which will be applied on the contract, the country law. What's the incident happened in this country, we have to apply. I think if there is no clause stated in the contract written that we have to apply this or that, so we come back to the country law.
Can we pause the, thank you very much. Can you pause the?
Okay, in this case, we don't have to forget the site positions with the contractor. So there's some kind of a tort liability, if we have to say, on the side of the contractor. Okay.
So whether a provision is included, fire or disaster, whatever, not included in the employer's contract, the name of the policy itself is named what? It's named contractor's own risk. Whether the provision is included or not included, whose liability or responsibility end of the way when contracting a project? The care of the works, as our colleague said, the care of the works or the site possession lies in whose responsibility? Contractor. So whether it's included as a provision or not, it is the contractor's risk and everything. Okay, that's why I mentioned earlier. It's not only the employer requirements. I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, as if you remember. You have to include your experience as a contractor and as an insurance department, and from the risks register, and from the lessons learned, and from previous claims and accidents. All this experience has to be reflected in the limits and coverage in order to have a proper provisions and insurance policy that can mitigate or avoid such risk and transfer the burden of this liability on the insurance company.
Okay. I only have just one question, or it's make some comment.
Yeah,
on provision, on the last provision you just presented. On the last provision you presented, the last provision, insurance provision you presented, there was that employee requirement that requires the contractor to ensure the fixed liability period.
Yes.
Okay? There's one case the contractor ensures for the fixed liability period if there is on an O&M scope, operation and maintenance, but the only difference that the insurance, it's called operating or
Yes.
as an operator, not as a contractor. Just to add this.
Yes, very good to add. But we are talking about normal construction contract that has the fixed liability taking over certificate received and then extended maintenance and not O&M. But thanks for adding this important example. Any questions? لا مش المايك مش شغال.
If any happens, if any damage happens to the construction due to a fault in the design, at the meantime, the contractor hasn't used it. Still, it's supposed to be compensated through the professional damage.
Regardless of the fact that PI insures against the designer's scope or the one who provided the design, even if in certain cases the contractor is required to provide design for certain or parts of the works, and in this case the contractor bears such liability and has to provide PI for this specific scope design. But generally speaking, it is the engineers or the consultant or the employer's designer who provided the design in the first place. The PI should provide the PI to cover for his own design and faulty design errors, not the contractor. Even if the contractor is required to check. This has a bit of an issue legally. I don't want to get into this. It has legal consideration and has been tackled in many seminars separately. I mean, this issue is very yes, it's a.
This case, contractor can compensate the two stars. In this
لا PI.
the damage بقى in the construction, he will not be compensated
PI.
only.
صح بس it's PI, pure PI.
تاني جدة استنى بس خد الميكروفون يا مستر.
Usually, the professional indemnity policy covers property damage, bodily injury, and financial loss. So, in case of damage due to faulty design has affected the building to be collapsed or damaged, then the professional indemnity policy will indemnify the client for such a damage. But the contractor's or risk policy will state a clear exclusion that this will not work with the construction policy. So, the designer should carry his own professional indemnity insurance policy in such cases. So the contractor will not respond to such a claim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mahmoud.
Thank you very much for such a peaceful audience. Thank you, Engineer Magid. Thank you, Fosca, and all the contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much.